maybe 80, but he's still got all the right moves.
35 worst lust addicts in Hollywood history. Are you ready to dive into the scandalous world of Hollywood's most infamous lust addicts? From shocking affairs to scandalous revelations, these celebrities' lust-fueled escapades will leave you speechless. Discover the dark side of fame in our revealing expose on the 35 worst lust addicts in Hollywood history. Number 35, Errol Flynn. Did you know Errol Flynn's on-screen charisma masked a scandalous off-screen life? Find out why his charm couldn't save him from the shadows of controversy. Perhaps no star in Hollywood was as tragic and troubled as Errol Flynn. The great thing about Errol was you always knew exactly where you stood with him because he always let you down, he writes. On one particularly troubling occasion, Niven claims that Flynn, who was tried and acquitted of statutory rape by 2 women in the early 1940s, invited him to go view the best-looking girls in LA. Allegedly, Flynn drove them down Sunset Boulevard, parking directly across from Hollywood High just as school was letting out. Stay tuned as we reveal more shocking stories and scandals from Hollywood's history of lust addicts.
I'm in love. On any old trail, I lose my way. Reckon I'm in love.
I haven't slept the way I should.
Number 34, Alfred Hitchcock. What dark secrets lurked behind Hitchcock's cinematic genius? Discover the unsettling truths that shaped his controversial legacy. The beloved director is the mastermind behind some of Hollywood's best classic movies, including Psycho and The Birds. But the man behind the celluloid was known as a sexual predator, and reports have surfaced about his inappropriate sexual advances toward female stars. Tippi Hedren, star of Marnie and The Birds, said of Hitchcock's advances, "I don't know what to call it. It was something I'd never experienced before. It wasn't love. When you love someone, you treat them well." We are dealing with a mind here that is incomprehensible, and I'm certainly not capable of discerning what was going on through his mind or why. I certainly gave no indication that I was ever interested in a relationship with him. He was allegedly aggravated that she refused his repeated sexual advances.
How serious was it? Did Alfred Hitchcock try to have sex with you?
Well, it never got that far. I stopped it immediately.
Number 33, Charlie Chaplin. How did the iconic silent film star's personal life become as dramatic as his movies? Charlie Chaplin is probably the most recognizable and beloved movie star from the silent film era. His slapstick, physical comedy has left an indelible mark in film history, without a doubt. Unfortunately, there is a dark side to Charlie Chaplin, who grew up in a troubled household. While he had become one of the most famous men in the world by his mid-20s, Chaplin was only 5'5" and likely exhibited Napoleon syndrome. While divorcing his wife, Chaplin met a 12-year-old girl who would eventually become his next wife 4 years later. Later, Chaplin would marry an 18-year-old when he himself was 54. While this is still fairly common with Hollywood types, it's not a great look. Many reports suggest that Chaplin was a tyrant on set as a director, and also a cruel father to his children. Number 32, Jerry Lee Lewis. Lewis had been married twice before. His second marriage in September 1953 had caused quite a stir when people realized it had taken place 23 days before his first divorce was final. That stir was nothing compared to the one his third marriage would cause, however. Though he had gotten married again before his divorce was final, it also came out that his new wife was also his third cousin, a 13-year-old named Myra Gale Brown. At the age of 13, Myra Gale Brown wedded 22-year-old Jerry Lee Lewis in Hernando, Mississippi, a marriage that would effectively destroy Lewis's career.
Well, I don't answer those questions, sir. My manager might knock my head off or something.
Number 31, Roman Polanski. Roman Polanski's attraction to underage girls was known in the film industry. In 1977, his greatest scandal unfolded when he was arrested and charged with 6 offenses against a 13-year-old girl. After hearing that the judge planned to reject his plea deal, he pled guilty to the lesser charge of unlawful sexual intercourse with a minor. He fled to France. Yet, many people seem to have forgotten about his perversion or simply don't care. At the 2020 César Awards, aka the French Oscars, Polanski won Best Director for his film An Officer and a Spy. Number 30, Bill Cosby. America's beloved TV dad or a dark predator. Bill Cosby was acting in one of the most famous shows of that time and was called America's Dad for the role he played as Cliff Huxtable on the highly rated The Cosby Show. However, it came up that the character didn't reflect him in real life. Although the title stayed with him for years after the end of the sitcom in 1992, he all of a sudden became a disgraced actor after a number of women made sexual assault accusations against him in the mid-2010s, with the earliest incidents dating back decades. I mean, talk about celebrities who ruined their reputation. Bill Cosby was the Pudding Pop spokesman. More than 50 women have accused him of attempted sexual assault, rape, sexual battery, drug-facilitated sexual assault, child sex abuse, or sexual misconduct, which he all denied. The statute of limitations had, by the mid-2010s, expired in almost all cases. However, he was delivered to trial for one case involving a Toronto girl.
He's guilty, and the comic legend, once known as America's Dad, now faces up to 30 years in prison.
Number 29, Rob Lowe. How did a promising actor's career nearly derail due to scandal? One of the items confiscated after the police searched and seized boxes of material and personal computers in Paul Rubin's Hollywood Hills home was Rob Lowe's sex tape. That tape had a huge role because it was the very first video of celebrities having sexual intercourse that was copied and sold at large. At that time, Rob Lowe was very famous and part of the Brat Pack in the 80s, taking part in Youngbloods and St. Elmo's Fire. However, after a video of him having sexual intercourse with a 16-year-old girl leaked, his very promising career started going down.
I've invested in me and, my spirituality, my recovery, my marriage, my family. That's what I've invested in. I've done, and a lot of it has been, hard.
Number 28, Chuck Berry. In 1959, Berry was arrested for taking a 14-year-old girl, Janice Escalante, across state lines for immoral purposes, a crime for which he eventually served 2 years in prison. But that was almost 60 years ago, some might say. Different time, different morals. Well, kinda. That he was then accused of installing a video camera in the ladies' toilet of his Missouri restaurant is less easy to jazz hands away, given that it happened in the not wildly distant year of 1989. After tapes from this camera were found in Berry's home, he was given a suspended sentence and settled a class action with 59 women.
If you were alive and owned a radio in the 1950s, then you know about Chuck Berry. If you weren't alive then, you still know about Chuck Berry. He has been around for a long, long time.
Woody Allen. A celebrated filmmaker or a figure of controversy? Explore Woody Allen's tumultuous personal life and the scandals that haunt his career. Allen is a more contemporary example of Hollywood scandal, but an important one to remember. Allen was accused of sexually abusing his 7-year-old adopted daughter Dylan by his then partner Mia Farrow in 1992. The family then became embroiled in an intense legal battle, with the judge in the case reportedly telling Allen that his behavior toward his daughter was grossly inappropriate and that measures must be taken to protect her. Allen was then involved in a subsequent scandal after Farrow discovered nude and sexually explicit photos of her adopted daughter, Soon Yi Previn, who was 19 at the time. Alan and Previn soon began a relationship and have since married. For his part, Alan has vehemently denied any misconduct or misbehavior. "I didn't find any moral dilemmas whatsoever," Alan told Time about his relationship with Previn. "I didn't feel that just because she was Mia's daughter, there was any great moral dilemma. It was a fact, but not one with any great import. It wasn't like she was my daughter."
He has a chair in philosophy at Cornell.
Yeah, 2 more chairs. They got a dining room set.
Why are you so hostile?
Because I want to watch the Knicks on television.
Number 26, Paulette Goddard. Paulette Goddard was an American actress and socialite. Her career spanned 6 decades, from the 1920s to the early 1970s. She was a prominent leading actress during the golden age of Hollywood. Paulette Goddard had a number of affairs with famous men, including Charlie Chaplin, John F. Kennedy, and Burgess Meredith. She was also rumored to have had affairs with Errol Flynn, David Niven, and Howard Hughes.
I had a swell time, Eve.
I'm glad you did. What was your last name again?
Rogers.
Roger.
Number 25, Michael Jackson. How did the King of Pop's fame collide with controversy? Discover the mysteries and scandals that continue to surround Michael Jackson. The 2005 trial acquitted Jackson, but sexual abuse allegations kept returning to haunt the King of Pop time and again. In 1993, Evan Chandler filed a case accusing him of sexually abusing his 13-year-old son Jordan. A civil case was settled out of court in early 1994 when he paid Chandler a reported $20 million. The biggest push in the downward spiral of Jackson's career came in November 2003 when he was arrested and charged with child abuse based on 13-year-old cancer sufferer Gavin Arizo's claims. British journalist Martin Bashir's documentary, in which the thriller hitmaker admitted to having shared his bed with children, was used as evidence in the case. Dubbed the trial of the century, the 14-week ordeal ended in June 2005, with Jackson being cleared of all charges. In 2013, 4 years after his death, Wade Robson accused Jackson of having molested him.
Before you label or condemn me, don't treat me like a criminal, because I am innocent.
Number 24, Daryl F Zanic. How did the powerful Hollywood mogul navigate scandal and success behind the scenes? Uncovered the secrets of Zanic's controversial career. Hollywood producer Daryl F Zanic was legendary in the industry, but not just for the movies he made. Zanic worked his way through actresses on the sofa in his office faster than the credits rolled on his flicks, according to the tome The Zanics of Hollywood, The Dark Legacy of an American Dynasty by Marlis Harris. His daily bedding of budding starlets operated like clockwork. At 4 p.m. every day, his Fox Century studio would shut down while Zanic shuttled a young woman through a subterranean passage to his green-paneled office, according to Harris and Deadline Hollywood. Anyone at the studio knew of the afternoon trysts, Harris wrote. He was not serious about any of the women. To him, they were merely pleasurable breaks in the day, like polo, lunch, and practical jokes.
There were 13 letters in the name, but really, Virginia and I long ago decided that we'd never have our horoscopes read or...
Number 23, Louis B. Mayer. Studio head Louis B. Mayer terrorized Hollywood's women long before Harvey Weinstein, according to a recent headline in the UK's Telegraph. Mayer would direct a 16-year-old Judy Garland to sit on his lap, whereupon he'd palm her left breast while telling her, "You sing from the heart," a creepy anecdote Garland recalled in a memoir.
I would describe L.B. Mayer as a courtly, polished, evil villain.
Number 22, Michael Winner. Oscar winner Dame Helen Mirren, who commands respect and awe wherever she goes today, has said that back in 1964, at the tender age of 19, she was just another plaything to director Michael Winner. Mirren, now 72, said she will never forget how, during an audition, Winner made her flaunt her body as he leered. "I was mortified and incredibly angry," she told Richard Madley and Judy Finnegan in a 2000 television interview. "I thought it was insulting and sexist, and I don't think any actress should be treated like that, like a piece of meat, at all."
For many years now, and but I may say with no modesty, I've been very successful at it. I've got 4 films in production at the moment: Death Wish 3, Death Wish 4, Death Wish 5, and Death Wish 6.
Number 21, Elizabeth Taylor. How did Hollywood's most glamorous star become a magnet for scandal? Dive into Elizabeth Taylor's love life and the dramas that captivated the world. The famous film star is known for her 8 marriages to 7 husbands, but it was her extramarital affairs that plagued her reputation. Taylor was rumored to have had an affair with Richard Burton while still married to Eddie Fisher, whom she started dating soon after her 3rd husband, director Mike Todd, died in a plane crash. Fisher and Taylor also had a sordid romance, as he was married to actress Debbie Reynolds during the time of his affair with Taylor. Are you dizzy yet? So are we. Taylor's scandals made the Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, Jennifer Aniston triangle look tame.
Here then running over with wine and self-pity to conquer Caesar.
So long now.
Number 20, Ronald Reagan. Before the White House, what controversy shaped Reagan's Hollywood career? Before he became POTUS, Reagan was an actor who was reportedly abusive and predatory toward women. Actress Celine Walters claimed that in the 1950s, Reagan raped her, reportedly telling people of their encounter. I opened the door, then it was a battle on the couch. I was fighting him. I didn't want him to make love to me. He's a very big man and he just had his way. Date rape? No, God no. That's Kelly's phrase. I didn't have a chance to have a date with him. Actress Piper Laurie, pictured here, also claimed in her memoir that Reagan took her virginity when she was 18 and he was 39 when he played her father in a movie.
Is this on? Mr. Green, did you turn on the microphone?
You asked for me if you would...
I am paying for this microphone, Mr. Green.
Number 19, Clark Gable. Did the king of Hollywood have a scandalous side? Uncover the lesser-known stories behind Clark Gable's legendary career and personal life. Gable was one of Hollywood's original heartthrobs. His legacy has continued to last, even though he reportedly date-raped actress Loretta Young when she was 23, impregnating her while he was married to another woman. Gable managed to hide the affair, the pregnancy, and the birth of their daughter from the public for more than a year. According to reports, Young didn't realize she had been date raped until she was 85, as she wasn't familiar with the term.
What kind of a gang are you running with?
What do you mean?
Number 18, Roscoe Fatty Arbuckle. How did a silent film star's career implode amidst scandal? Popular comedian Fatty Arbuckle was acquitted of charges stemming from the death of actress Virginia Rape after a hotel party, during which Arbuckle reportedly violently abused and raped her. Suffering brutal injuries, including a ruptured bladder, Rapp died in the hospital days later. There wasn't enough evidence to charge Arbuckle, but his reputation suffered greatly after Rapp's death. Number 17, Clara Bo. Clara liked boys, and like many female stars at the time, she treated the boyfriends that she most likely slept with as engagements. This led to a series of quickly formed and broken engagements to the likes of Gary Cooper, so hot when young, trust, the director Victor Fleming, and Latin lover Gilbert Roland. When she had a case of nerves in the late 20s, she was treated by a Hollywood doctor. She developed a crush on the doctor, but who knows if they just played MASH or made out or what. But when the doctor's wife sued for divorce, she named Bo as a cause for alienation of affection. No good.
The result was to be Clara Bo, the culmination of the flapper heroine. A sexy little girl, a tease.
Number 16, Geoffrey Rush. Yale Stone accused the Australian actor of sexual misconduct in December 2018, claiming to the New York Times that Rush mistreated her while they worked together on the theater production of The Diary of a Madman in 2010 and 2011 in Sydney. The Orange is the New Black actress alleged that Rush sent her inappropriate text messages, touched her in a very sensual manner at an award show, and once held up a mirror to spy on her while she was taking a shower at the theater. Rush denied the allegations.
I'm pleased to acknowledge the decisions made this afternoon by the Federal Court of Australia. But there are no winners in this case. It's been extremely distressing for everyone involved. I want to thank my wife Jane and our children for their support during this harrowing time. I have no further comment.
Number 15. Hugh Hefner. How did the Playboy mogul's lavish lifestyle mask darker truths? It's the original hunter, Hugh Hefner, who has had sex with his Playboy bunnies well over between 2,000 to 5,000. Hefner always believed in a larger-than-life lifestyle after he made Playboy, one of the most celebrated American adult magazines that showcased the sexy bunnies and housemates of the Playboy Mansion. Surely the most famous of today's lady killers, Playboy entrepreneur Hugh Hefner is probably the most unsurprising entry in this list. Interestingly, for Hugh, it is not just women, as Hefner freely admits to having bisexual liaisons with many.
Hef may be 80, but he's still got all the right moves.
Number 14, Ron Jeremy. Our contender number 7, porn star Ron Jeremy, with sexploits to the range of 4,000 to 5,000 porn partners, has had sexual relations with many co-stars during his spanning career in the adult industry. With the raunchiest porn stars that guys drool over while watching them in action, Ron has made a career out of sex. The Hedgehog has starred in more than 2,000 porn flicks and is quite possibly the most famous male porn star ever to have thrust himself into the limelight. If there was ever to be a king of porn, it would be Jeremy. And if accounts of encounters with him are to be believed, he's a rather nice fellow to boot. With a penis that measures almost 10 inches long and a legendary sexual stamina, he once had sex with 14 different women in 4 hours, is definitely a man with pride before any women.
Porn star Ron Jeremy has been declared mentally incompetent to stand trial for rape and other sex charges. The announcement was made by a spokesperson for the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office.
Number 13, Warren Beatty. Warren Beatty made his way to the list after betting around 12,000 women, including some of the most desirable women in Hollywood: Natalie Wood, Brigitte Bardot, Jane Fonda, Joan Collins, Carly Simon. Beatty is alleged to partly be the subject of Simon's song You're So Vain. Faye Dunaway, Leslie Caron, Candice Bergen, Isabel Adjani, Julie Christie, and Madonna, to name a few. Number 12, Frank Langella. An acting heavyweight, Langella has worked in film, television, and on stage, including many stints on Broadway. But as the title of the book suggests, this is not an exploration of his actorly craft. Instead, it focuses on the fact that he has encountered just about everybody in his 50-year career and, it transpires, slept with very, very many of them. Elizabeth Taylor invited him to come up and put me to sleep. He obliged. He had phone sex with Betty Davis, flirted with Noel Coward and Laurence Olivier, and had a threesome with Raul Julia and Jill Clayburgh that he likens to a pulsating Oreo cookie. He slept with Rita Hayworth, 20 years his senior, and suffering from alcoholism and Alzheimer's. But in the candle's light and fire's glow, she once again became the goddess. And he says Yvonne Lily Munster DiCarlo, playing his mother in a Zorro TV movie, off-screen treated him like a pretty girl on the back seat of a convertible on a hot summer night. Town Skeletor.
Hundreds of people are applauding you in 11:15. You're in your dressing room and you're alone, and you go home, and the next night you start all over again. So for an actor, it's a constant.
Number 11, Bert Ward. Back at the time of the Tim Burton Batman films, Bert Ward, the Robin to Adam West's Cape Crusader, was keen to publicly decry their darker direction and the drift away from wholesome family entertainment. So his priopic memoir of the 60s TV series comes as something of an eye-opener. Should you care to know the sordid details, the pages contain an orgy with 8 hookers, being seduced by a teenage groupie while wearing his Robin costume, and the tales of countless other women who who were on the receiving end of his bat sperm. No, really, that's what he calls it. If that wasn't enough, there's also plenty on The Battle of My Bulge, the ongoing saga of trying to calm his, he reckons, enormous package into Robin's bottle green briefs in a way that didn't offend the viewers at home. He dedicated the book to his children.
When I became famous is when I became Robin. You have to understand, I was a very naive kid. I was 20 years old. I came into Batman.
Holy serpentine, what happened?
I met Adam West, who immediately introduced me to the wildest sexual debauchery you could imagine.
Number 10, Mickey Rooney. How did the child star's innocence give way to Hollywood scandal? Short in stature, he may have been, but what Mickey Rooney lacked in height, he made up for elsewhere. Incredibly, Rooney married 8 times, but his was a largely unhappy and unfulfilled personal life, while he compensated for by bedding dozens of actresses, among them Lana Turner, Elizabeth Taylor, and Carol Landis. He married Hollywood star Ava Gardner on January 10, 1942, but their marriage only lasted 16 months. He married Betty Jane Reyes on September 30, 1944, ending in divorce in June 1948. Mickey then married to Michigan-born actress Martha Vickers the following year. They divorced in 1952, and the same year he married actress Ellen DeVry, then actress Carolyn Mitchell in 1958, and stayed with her until her death in 1966. She was murdered. Mickey then married Marge Lane, a close friend of Carolyn, in 1966. They divorced in 1967 after 100 days of marriage. In 1969, Mickey married Carolyn Hockett, but they divorced in 1974. Mickey married his current wife, actress Jan Rooney, on July 28, 1978. He has been with Jan longer than all his other wives put together.
Mickey, do you remember the first time you saw Judy Garland?
I certainly do. I saw her at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood with her sisters, called the Gum Sisters.
Number 9, Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford will always be remembered as a glamorous icon of the silver screen. Her career took off in the late 1920s, and her star never really dimmed until her death in 1977. Joan had a tawdry past that she was constantly trying to put behind her. The star wasn't born into the Hollywood elite. Her father was a common laborer from San Antonio, Texas, and left the family shortly after Joan's birth. Her mother remarried a man who ran the local opera house. That man, Henry Casson, is the subject of one of the Joan Crawford rumors. It's alleged that Henry was sexually involved with Joan when she was only 11 years old. Once discovered, this led Joan's mother to end the marriage. A few years after the move to Oklahoma, the family relocated again to Kansas City, which is where the rumors get even dirtier. According to Schukert, Joan's poor hygiene as a teenager resulted in her spreading crabs around Kansas City, which later led to her obsession with cleanliness once she reached Hollywood. The final rumor about Crawford plagued the actress until her death. It was constantly rumored that Joan had worked as a call girl and starred in at least one porno before she caught her big break at MGM. Specifically, a 1918 film called The Casting Couch. Number 8, Mae West. Mae West lived a life of almost constant controversy. She was a racy, sexually explicit woman who shocked, appalled, and excited her early 1900s audiences with her behavior. She was a writer, actor, and director, and her provocative behavior got her in a great deal of trouble. In 1926, Mae wrote, directed, and starred in a Broadway play entitled Sex, which was popular with the general public but panned by critics. This production would also be Mae's first brush with the police after the show was rated. Mae and several other cast members were arrested and prosecuted on morals charges, serving 8 days in jail. Mae's film career was also the subject of controversy. Her films were frequently censored under the Hays Code, but Mae would often get around this by using innuendos and double entendres that would confuse the censors.
I am delighted. I have heard so much about you.
Yeah, but you can't prove it. Your bath is ready, Miss Lou. You take it. I'm indisposed.
Number 7. Tula Bankhead. Tula Bankhead was an early 20th century actress, theater performer, and occasional radio and television personality who starred in plays such as They Knew What They Wanted and The Three Little Foxes, and movies like Lifeboat. Tula was well known for her outrageous behavior, very skimpy outfits, and her multiple affairs with both men and women, such as John Emery, Eva Le Gallienne, and Napier Sturt. She was also a habitual drug user, once saying, "Cocaine isn't habit forming. I should know. I've been using it for years." By far, her most controversial moment came when being interviewed. "I haven't had an affair for 6 months. 6 months. Too long. I want a man." Number 6. Greta Garbo. Greta Garbo chose to never marry, but she sure loved to get around. The silver screen icon went with men and women, gays and straights, singletons and married people, and she did it all on her own terms. Garbo was only 15, Sweden's age of consent then and now, when she likely took as her first lover Max Gumpel, a Swedish Olympian and man about town. But even that desirable bachelor wasn't necessarily the only man she wanted. It was widely known that she bedded the mostly gay fashion photographer Cecil Beaton. Starting in the mid-40s and continuing for 3 decades, Garbo and Beaton dated intermittently and were seen together at different times in New York and California, London and Paris. But Garbo had never been short of lovers. When MGM hired Sven Hugo Borg to be her interpreter in LA, she quickly welcomed the handsome translator into her bed. In the 1934 movie The Painted Veil, George Brent's character nonchalantly seduced the unhappy wife portrayed by Garbo, while in real life, Greta and George enjoyed a romantic interlude for a while. She even moved in with him, Gottlieb writes. At a 1941 New Year's Eve party, Garbo met Eric Maria Remarque, author of All Quiet on the Western Front, who, although married, was a playboy known for many lovers, soon including Garbo.
The actors.
Which actors do you remember?
Which actress?
Actors or actors?
Well?
From the early Hollywood period.
Well, Gable just had made her first talking picture.
Number 5. Brigitte Bardot. How did the international sex symbol navigate fame and scandal? Discover Brigitte Bardot's controversial career and activism that sparked global debate. 60s sex bomb Brigitte Bardot has had a life as epic as her fame and with the drama of her films. She had more than 100 lovers, including women. She also tried to kill herself at least 4 times, the same number of husbands she has had, according to a new book on the French actress, model, and chanteuse. In 1952, when Bardot was 18 years old, she married Roger Vadim, then a director's assistant, 6 years her senior, after meeting him at a movie casting. On set, however, Bardot fell in love with her co-star Jean-Louis Trintignant, and after 4 short years of marriage, she and Vadim divorced. After her affair with Trintignant, she went on to bed as many as 100 men and women. Bardot married her 4th and last husband, politician Bernard d'Armale, in 1992.
De tout cœur, je veux gagner ce cœur à cœur. Vous connaissez mon jeu par cœur, alors défendez-vous.
Number 4. Spencer Tracy. Hollywood's leading man, or a figure haunted by personal demons? Spencer Tracy was known for his natural performing style and versatility. One of the major stars of Hollywood's golden age, Tracy was the first actor to win 2 consecutive Academy Awards for Best Actor, from 9 nominations. Tracy married actress Louise Treadwell while they were both members of the Wood Players. But Tracy frequently engaged in extramarital affairs, including with co-stars Joan Crawford in 1937 and Ingrid Bergman in 1941. He had an affair with Myrna Loy in 1935 and 1936. Spencer Tracy's affair with Katharine Hepburn is one of the great love stories of classic Hollywood. But Tracy was a famously tormented and seasoned alcoholic, and strayed often from the relationship to seek solace in the arms of dozens of other actresses, and allegedly, several men too.
Hope we haven't ruined your day.
Oh, no, not at all, not at all. After all, it kept me off the streets and out of the pool rooms.
What's the matter, sir?
Nothing.
Sure.
Number 3, David Niven. Niven carved out a niche playing suave, upper-class chances in films like Around the World in 80 Days and The Pink Panther. Behind the scenes, he had a parallel career as a seducer, incurring injuries along the way. I met a very nice girl in New York on my first trip there called Maureen Brennan, a fitness therapist with a very nice line in acrobatic sex, he recalled. In Hollywood, he set up home with Merle Oberon, the star of Wuthering Heights, but he was unable to stay faithful. In 1940, he married Primmy, the granddaughter of a Marquess. Even though he adored her, he was again incapable of monogamy. "I was a fool," he confessed. "When we were apart during the war, it was all too easy to have sex with other women who wanted to go to bed with a Hollywood movie star. Some of them were no more than 16, but I was insatiable, you see. Always have been." He had a post-war fling with actress Loretta Young just before Primmy arrived to join him in Los Angeles. After Primmy's death, Niven's sexual compulsion kicked in properly. He grew close to actress Rita Hayworth, who wanted to marry him, but he chose to wed Swedish model Gordis Tersman after a whirlwind courtship in 1948. His second marriage didn't stop him wandering. Within months, he was having an affair with Grace Kelly, the future wife of Prince Rainier of Monaco. His other conquests included Princess Marina, widow of Duke of Kent, and according to Hjordis, Princess Margaret.
To your right, Sir James, Lady Mary, daughter of Lord Douglas MacTarry, raped by the Campbells in 1622, in retaliation of which Lord Douglas sent his only son, Hamish, out to rape 12 Campbell lasses.
At the same time?
Eldest first, of course.
Number 2, Tony Curtis. How did the Hollywood heartthrob's personal life mirror his on-screen dramas? Delve into Tony Curtis's turbulent relationships and the scandals that followed. On September 29th, at the age of 85, screen legend Tony Curtis died of a heart attack, leaving behind a wife, 5 children, including actress Jamie Lee Curtis, and millions of saddened fans. He also leaves behind quite a sexual legacy. Tony was famous off-screen for chasing skirts. It's been reported that the devilishly handsome actor bedded 1,000 women, among them a young Norma Jean Baker, before she transformed into Marilyn Monroe. Curtis found time to marry 6 times. His union with Janet Leigh provided the couple with 2 daughters, Jamie Lee Curtis and Kelly Curtis.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry.
My fault.
You're not hurt, are you?
I don't think so.
I wish you'd make sure.
Why?
Number 1, Desi Arnaz. His name is forever associated with Lucille Ball, whom he married in 1940. Desi Arnaz, however, was a serial adulterer. His problems with alcohol and infidelity deepened to the point where his behavior created national scandals. Ball divorced him in 1960. It is well documented that Arnaz cheated on Ball, and the band leader and actor admitted it himself. But one Hollywood insider made quite the bold claim about Arnaz's cheating. Escort to the Stars, Scott Bowers, claimed that he procured women for the I Love Lucy star at the rate of 2 or 3 a week. In his interview with the Daily Beast, Bowers said that during the height of I Love Lucy's popularity, he was setting Arnaz up with 2 or 3 women per week. His type was any nice-looking girl who was a quick lay, he claimed of the star.
Well, in just a minute, dear.
Take that hat back! What do you think I am, made of money? And I don't get the job.
Well, that's show business. You know, there's no business like show business.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends. Let us know in the comments which celebrity story surprised you the most. And don't forget to subscribe for more juicy Hollywood gossip. Until next time, stay tuned.